desierto, sudando frío, hundiendo el polvo.
Okay, welcome back to the Central Valley Buzz. Thanks for the music, Tattoo. Tattoo will be back later on in the show to do full songs for you. And wait till you see what he can do on just a little bit. What is that? 2 keyboards and a laptop. Wow. Sitting here with me right now, Dr. Matthew Norton. He's wrote a book that says, Where Does It Hurt? Doctor, how are you?
Doing great, thank you.
Nice to have you. Now, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been a doctor of chiropractic for 31 years, and not necessarily in the sense that people always think about chiropractic, but with a focus on whole body health. And people think that chiropractic is essentially for back pain, and so a big part of my mission has been to educate people that it's much more than that.
Now, are you the kind of chiropractor that adjusts people a lot, or just sometimes people don't need an adjustment?
People always need an adjustment. I tell people
Really?
if they have a spine and nervous system, they need to get it checked and need to get adjusted. But I don't do twisting manipulation. I do more precise instrument adjusting.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, I have a very exacting checking system that helps me know where to adjust, and I use a handheld instrument to be able to do the adjustment. So
is it
it's
one of
more
those spring-loaded things?
Yeah, yeah.
And it just kind of pops and it pushes the vertebrae right over?
You got it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
People
love it.
I bet.
There's so many people who are...
It's not scary.
No, it's not scary.
Right.
So, and a lot of people are not scared of manipulation, and there's nothing intrinsically wrong with that. It's just this is an alternative that I find to be very effective.
Can people get out of whack real easily?
Injuries, starting with birth trauma, starting with early childhood falls.
What do you mean with birth trauma? Like they get squeezed out too much?
Well, birth can be traumatic. It's just a small space to get out of, and babies don't always get out easily. So yeah.
Okay. So is it okay to adjust a child?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the way home from the hospital.
No.
Or the birthing center, yeah.
No, really?
Yeah.
On a little tiny baby?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Their bones aren't too soft?
Well, I mean, just like we were just saying, if they had a challenging time getting out of mom, then the stresses that already occurred in that, I mean, it's just gentle, over my finger, little adjustments with the lightest setting on the instrument. So,
what's the benefit for a baby at that point?
well, because you've got all this neural development that's going to be happening for a long time. If you've got a misalignment of this heavy head sitting on this little neck with no musculature really to support it, and you create a misalignment like this, that will get locked in there. It's like
That's those people that have their head off to the side all the time?
Well, in the extreme, yes, but everybody, even to lesser degrees, has those things going on. So,
wow.
Yeah. There's a lot that people don't understand. People think of only adults, only with major back pain.
Right.
But there was a recent study that looked at MRI studies of 17-year-olds, and the vast majority of 17-year-olds already have cracks in their lumbar spine discs. So that tells there's already been a process going on for a long period of time, and nobody knew.
If people neglect one of these, misplacements?
Yeah, misalignment. Subluxation is the
If they
technical
neglect the misalignment for a long time, can that be detrimental to your health?
Well, I mean, and again, what specifically today that I'm here to want to talk about is to share about this learning opportunity that we have at our office called Say Yes to a Cancer-Free Life.
Let's talk about that.
And so, and that's a good segue, because the nervous system, which is what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about a spine because the nervous system travels through it and anchors into it. That nervous system is also what is coordinating and regulating immune function. So when we're talking about cancer, we're talking about an immune challenge.
Okay.
And so that nervous system and the stress in general on the system. See, like I was thinking that was good cancer-free music that we had going on here, because
was that cancer-free
that was
music?
cancer-free, yeah. because having fun and having joy reverberate through the cells of your body, that's a key factor in de-stressing the system and helping that body's immune system function at a high level. But I mean, I was also thinking as I was sitting there listening to your previous guest and just thinking about the kind of this party energy and atmosphere, but thinking about how the word cancer is kind of a party buzz,
it's
Central
a downer.
Valley buzz. It's
Right.
a Central Valley, it's a buzz killer. Yeah, it's a Central Valley buzz killer, and lots of other valleys. But But it doesn't have to. It's there's so much fear and so much misunderstanding around it. And I don't diagnose cancer. I don't treat cancer. But what I do help people is give them knowledge and understanding and demystify things that people don't understand, so they can be more empowered.
Okay.
People need to be more empowered to know, what can I do? Is there something I can do?
So you're doing classes on how to stay cancer-free?
Yeah. So this Say Yes to a Cancer-Free Life class, it's one of the essential elements because of that fear. The fear comes from the fact that people are believing that either they just got unlucky and developed cancer,
okay,
or that they have bad genes from their parents. My parents
had cancer, so I'm going to get cancer.
Right, and maybe if you discuss it with somebody, they would say, well, I don't know, is that true? I don't really know, but that's the background sense that people have is my genes are determining my health.
Does it at all?
So here's what they found is that the genes are like switches, like light switches, and just like light switches can't flip themselves on and off, then the switches have everything to do with the context of the environment that they're in. So in other words, it's the environmental experiences and exposures that people have, body, mind, and spirit-wise, that are determining whether those switches are flipped on or off.
Okay.
So there was an interesting study that they did that kind of helped, well, a few of them that have refuted that whole genetic determinism kind of thing. And they looked at, this was in Denmark, where they have all these records of the government has health records of people, major ancestral stuff.
Because they provide health care.
Right. So they want, well, is that a different conversation? Yeah, could be, maybe not. But anyway, they tracked down the biological parents of 1,000 kids that were adopted at birth. And so they wanted to find out if they found that the birth parents that had died of cancer before the age of 50, they found that there was absolutely zero correlation between cancer in those kids that were adopted away from them. There was zero relationship back to their tendency to develop cancer. But what they found was
that's kind of a lot of work.
Well, what they found is that there was in the adopted families where they share no genetic relationship, in those adopted families, that there was a 5-fold increase in cancer in those adopted kids if the adopted parents died of cancer before the age of 50. So in other words, it wasn't the genetic background, it was something in the lifestyle experience that they were growing up in.
Wow. Very interesting.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Same thing with identical twins who share the exact same genes. There was no correlation between cancer in one and cancer developing in the other. See, so that information alone is part of what I'm talking about, giving people real facts so they don't have to live in fear. So cancer doesn't have to be the scary victim word where it's like, oh, God, please, I hope I don't get this, or I'm screwed because my parents had this. So,
like it doesn't run in the families. Now, what can people do to avoid cancer?
Well, so it's a combination of things. Part of it is nutrition. Part of it is, like, for example, vitamin D. They found that vitamin D consumption, and sunlight is one way to get vitamin D,
right,
but people are not always getting enough that way. So if they take high quality vitamin D supplementation, that it reduces all cancers across the board by 77%. Just that
because
one,
of raising the dopamine levels in your body.
Well, that's not a dopamine issue, but the effect on the immune system of specific nutrients. I mean, when you
can
think
you take
about
too
it,
much vitamin D? Could it hurt you?
Well, yeah, you don't. There's
because I don't want anybody out there saying, "Woohoo, vitamin D, I'm living."
And again, yeah, it's not a party cocktail.
But you could take too much of it. What's
You
a
can.
recommended?
I'm not going to, off the top of my head, know that one for you.
Okay.
But we could get that information.
Did you get tested?
What?
Yeah. The best way to know has to do with absorption. Yeah, you're right. So it's like just because you take it doesn't mean that it's all getting absorbed anyway. So
Are these things you think people can learn at the workshop?
Yeah, we're going to give them specific details. I'm also going to be giving. We got some books and things we're going to be giving out for drawing winners. But also, even like this, I've got this full color anti-cancer action guide with all sorts of nutritional advice in there, things to do, things to not do. But it's not just nutrition. It's also from an emotional standpoint. That what they have found is people who are on not just briefly, but an ongoing basis, laboring with a sense of hopelessness and despair, radically increases system-wide inflammation and the likelihood of developing cancer. So it's not purely a physical thing. Sleep matters, nutrition matters. As I mentioned, the chiropractic adjustments that I do, because of the effect on de-stressing the nervous system, helps immune function. I'm going to tie connections between all of these things and a lot of the current research that's going on.
Awesome. Doctor, tell everyone where they can go and when to this workshop.
So it's next Thursday night at Norton Chiropractic Wellness Center. The phone number to call is 490-9550. And please tell other people. Come yourself. There's limited seating, but I mean we want to pack the room because people need this information. My vision, my mission has been to help really to set people free to live their best life. And so better, truthful information. What can people be empowered to do? That's a big contributor in people being well.
Awesome. Dr. Matthew Norton, thank you very much for coming on. And
hey,
very
my pleasure.
interesting stuff. Now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we have live music from none other than Tattoo! We'll be right back.